Hello, what's happening? It's Craig Scott here from Fight Talk. I'm joined by the one and only, the master of ceremonies, the man with the golden mohawk, Sam O'Reilly. Sam, how you doing, mate?
I'm not good. Stop calling it a fucking mohawk, mate. It's a fucking mohawk.
It's definitely a mohawk, man.
You're a cheeky cunt. It's not. It's just a barnet. It's just a little bit of a short on the sides, a little bit of wavy. It's not a fucking mohawk, you prick.
It's short on both sides and long in the middle. It's a mohawk.
Nah, I've just got a weird shaped head.
You look like you were in fucking Limp Bizkit. That's what you look like.
You're a prick.
We are here this evening, mate, to talk about the card this weekend in Glasgow, which is why I'm becoming extremely Glaswegian. And then we're going to be talking about the card the week after, the Matchroom card the week after in Liverpool. So, yeah, let's kick off. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Look, do you know what? It sounds a bit bad, yeah, because I've never been to Scotland, and I do want to one day go to Scotland for a boxing show. But this card doesn't really excite me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's the only.
Listen, yeah, it's Ricky Burns, isn't it? Everyone loves old Ricky.
I think it's the only. I might be 100% wrong. I'm pretty sure it's the only recognised unification to be held in Scotland.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
That ain't bad.
So,
ain't bad, is it?
yeah, man, I think it's an interesting fight as well. No one really knows much about Indongo, Julius Indongo from Namibia, I believe.
Who's he beat? Because I know he's undefeated. Was he 21-0? I think.
Yeah, he beat. The only guy he's really beat that we would know is that Edward Trojanowski, who he absolutely poleaxed for that left hand. Yeah. Which I think, in terms of bookies' odds, was one of the top 3 upsets of the last year in boxing. That was some shot, man.
Yeah, that was the highlight they trotted out when they announced the Burns and Indongo fight, didn't they?
Terrifying shot, yeah.
It was some shot. Not many people would have got up from that one, to be fair. So yeah, listen, you can see he can bang.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and say I know a lot about a geezer. But listen, he's in a title fight against Ricky Burns. That is, what's it for? I think it's for the IBF, IBO, and WBA, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. All 3, the triple header. The 3 recognised world championships, yep.
World famous IBO again, eh?
Listen, man, I'm talking to the guy for the IBO a week today. Ed Levine looks like a good guy, so I'll be catching up with him. Keep an eye out for that. Yeah, what do you make of Ricky Burns, mate? If you take away the fact that I'm Glaswegian, what do you make of Ricky Burns in all honesty as a champion, and do you think he's past his peak now?
I think he was past his peak before he went on that losing streak, but he somehow managed to claw his way back, and I don't know anyone that's ever said a bad word about Ricky Burns. He just seems like the nicest guy in the world, and all the fighters I know that have trained with him or train with him or know him, they all speak so highly of him. And listen, he's a model professional, isn't he?
Yeah.
There's a reason he's had 47 fights, I believe, 47, and he's still in the, definitely up there with the biggest fights of his career, this one.
Yeah. And
it's going to be his 47, 48 fight, whatever. And I thought he was way past it about 4 years ago when he went over to America, took a beating, and he just looked to be finished. But I can't do anything but take my hat off for Ricky Burns. So, it's hard to dislike the geezer, and I'd love to see him do it because I think he's a good bloke. Why
did you... Because I hear a lot of people say that he got beat, I think it was 2 or 3 on the bounce. He got beat off Zlatan Cannon. He got beat off Terence Crawford, obviously, which, I mean, who's holding that against him? And then he got beat off Omar Figueroa Jr. in Texas. Why are we holding those defeats against him? Those guys might beat him again if they fought again, or Terence Crawford's beaten most people at that weight. He's probably beaten everybody at that weight, to be fair. Figueroa was the weight above, and I thought he held himself very well in that fight. And Zlatan Cannon took him down heavily in the first round, and he kind of battled on a little bit, and it ended up being a bit closer than we thought it would be. And Zlatan Cannon went on to be WBC, and then obviously your boy Mikey Garcia. Jeez, that was a fucking.
my man Mikey spun him around and nearly decapitated him.
That was a fucking terrifying knockout as well.
No, you know what? You make a good point. It's hard. It's a bit harsh, I guess, to say I thought he was past it, but it's the truth. I did. Maybe it was the fact that I didn't know enough about his opponents back then. Let me be honest. When Zlatan beat him, I didn't know he was going to go on to be a guy that was fighting, and he became world champ himself, didn't he?
No one did. Yeah, I don't think anyone thought that. To be honest, he was.
So that's probably my own ignorance, I'd guess. But for Ricky, he'd been around for so long. You know what I mean? So long, and he's still here at the very top and the very pinnacle. So hats off to him.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, what is he, a cult hero up there? He's got to be. And has he got Ricky Burns Street? Has he got Ricky Burns Avenue? Has he got the key to the city? What is it?
He's it's very weird. He's the most successful Scottish boxer in history now. 3-weight world champion. That's never been done before. In terms of the Scottish fight game, only unification fight to be recognised in Scotland this weekend, which is going to be massive. And if you've ever been to a Ricky Burns fight and you're listening to this, I've been to various Ricky Burns fights. I was there when he won that third world title, was the most recent one I went to, and the place is absolutely bouncing, man. It's bouncing. There's about 10,000 people in there, and they're just all going mental. It's honestly one of the best atmospheres in British boxing. So I think he brings a lot to the country, because if you take him out of the equation, you don't really have right now. Well, you've got Josh Taylor's coming up. I think it'd be unfair.
Yeah, he's coming up, and he's a different stage of his career than Ricky.
Yeah, but I think when you look at guys who have been at the top, since Scott Harrison and Alex Arthur have kind of fizzled out, Burns has been the man. He's been holding it down for about a decade now. So, yeah, they love him, man. They absolutely love him. And he doesn't put a foot wrong, like you say. He's never really done anything wrong. He's a family man. He had some troubles promotionally. I know he had some issues with Frank Warren, and they had some legal issues, and he lost a lot of money. Came over to Eddie Hearn, and I think for me, when I thought he was past his peak, it wasn't when he lost those fights. It's when he was scraping by against guys like Paulus Moses, and then he got that dodgy draw with Beltran. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Joey Beltran, wasn't
it? Raymond Beltran.
Joey Beltran, I think, is an MMA fighter.
He is big heavyweight.
It definitely weren't him. I do. He's had a few dodgy performances. What did you think of his last fight, the Relic fight?
I thought it was a lot closer than it should have been. I actually thought Relic fought a better fight than Ricky Burns did. For me, Burns' key to victory is always use that big ramrod jab. Do you know what I mean? He's got really, really long arms, and when he uses that jab and he pumps the jab out, he keeps guys at distance, and then he can come in with those big winging hooks to the body, and that's how he scores points, and that's how he wins fights. When he starts to get in a brawl, he never looks that good in a brawl. He never looks technically good when he's in close. For me, he has to stay at range, and I thought Relic closed the distance very well, and I thought he fought quite well. He was unlucky to lose by a wide margin on a couple of the cards. What did you think?
Yeah, I remember it was Ricky Burns. He was Ricky Hatton's guy, wasn't he, Relic?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, he's another one I didn't know anything about, being honest. And I watched him, and I remember thinking, Ricky's not. It doesn't look classes above him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing with Ricky, like for everything he's achieved, there's not one thing I look at and go, "You are amazing at that."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have amazing footwork. He has a very good jab, and he has good shot variety. I think you're right. He'll rip the body with a couple of hooks, and he'll come up top. But there's nothing that stands out for me with Ricky Burns as being amazing at one thing. So, yeah, I think it's more the fact that he's very good at everything. He has an extremely high work rate.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think his fitness is fucking extraordinary, man.
Yeah, he is. He's an animal. He trains, ridiculously hard. And yeah, I think his cardio and his work rate get him through. Maybe not get him through. That's a bit insulting, but they help him along the way that he can go through all these fights and still be as strong in the last round as he is in the first. So
definitely, I think we'll move on and have a look at a couple of the other fights on that card. But this weekend, prediction for that fight, Sam. How do you think that's going to play out, mate? If you had to put some money on it, what would you say?
money on it. What are the odds on this fight, by the way? Actually, I haven't even looked.
I think Burns is a slight favourite, but I couldn't rhyme off any odds.
My question with Burns is, when does the fairy tale now end? You know, he's coming towards the end. If he loses this fight, he's got nothing more to achieve. Freeweight world champion is far above and beyond what I think most people would have imagined Ricky Burns to do.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see him win and go out and retire on a win. That's what I'd like to see happen. On the other hand, I could see Indongo beating him, which wouldn't be nice up in Scotland. But strange things have happened. People have torn up the script before, and this Indongo, if he can bang the way that his highlight reel suggests, then it could be a difficult fight for Ricky. But I'm gonna say Ricky. I'm gonna put my neck out and I'm gonna hope, and I think he'll do it. I think Ricky Burns will win the fight.
Yeah, I think for me, all they should really have been drilling, Sims and Burns together. All they should really have been drilling is how to avoid that big left hand, because he doesn't do anything else remarkable. Indongo, he's not a great boxer. He carries a lot of power in that hand. So if they've been working smartly on how to avoid that big shot, Burns should be able to take it on points for me. And if he does, it'll be a massive achievement. And I think, like you say, he'll probably have a couple more, maybe a couple of fights in America. I bumped into him on a plane, which I know I've told you about, and he was smiling from ear to ear at the prospect of facing Adrian Broner in the US. So, even regardless of what happens, if he does fight Adrian Broner or whatever happens over there, he deserves that kind of fight. He deserves that kind of payday, and hopefully we can see him move into boxing in other ways after he does retire as well. He's a class act.
Yeah, he is. This will be 48th fight. He might want to get the 50th, go out on 50 fights. I don't know why. A few guys I know lately. Colin Lyons is one of them. Ashley Theophane wants 50 wins, I think. But yeah, some guys like to have the 50th. So maybe he'll have, after this, he'll have a couple more. I'm sure anyone will take him. You know what I mean? He can fight most people, win or lose. You know what I mean? I think the thing with Ricky, he kind of deserves his own path, doesn't he? You know what I mean? How he decides to go out. I'm pretty sure Eddie will move heaven and earth to get him his goodbye and his swan song for his career. So
yeah.
Right.
Let's have a look at the rest of that card just briefly before we move on to Liverpool. The other main fights on the card, you've got Scott Cardle defending against Robbie Barrett.
Yeah, don't know who this Robbie Barrett is, I can't lie.
Don't care. I actually do not care. And that's, no disrespect to Robbie Barrett, man. The Scott Cardle thing just winds me up a little bit.
What do you think of it?
I thought Sean Dodd beat him twice.
Yeah.
I thought Sean Dodd beat him twice. I don't think he's a great fighter. And again, he's trying to win this outright now, the British title. For me, 2 words. When I watch him fight, 2 words scream out, Joe Gallagher, man. Joe Gallagher. I watch him fight and I go, there's no backup plan. What is it? That Sean Dodd was picking him apart and he didn't change anything at all. I don't really understand what's so great about him, and I don't see him ever coming close to winning a world title. I don't know how you feel.
I think Masha Dodd, didn't they draw and then it was a split or something, or it was...
Yeah.
The thing with Scott Cardle is I kind of like his style, which I shouldn't say because I hate Gallagher and I hate that, but he dropped his hands a bit sometimes, yeah. And he looks a bit flashy at times, and I quite like that. You know what I mean? He could be a little, but yeah, he is quite one-dimensional. When things aren't going well, he doesn't really have a backup plan, does he?
No.
He doesn't have fantastic head movement. I don't see him winning the world title either, I'll be honest.
He always starts quite well. That's the thing I get when I watch him. He always starts fights quite strong, and then he kind of just seems to fizzle out. Or if he's not hurting guys, he seems to lose a bit of confidence. Or I don't know. It's weird. Because I remember watching his first 5 or 10 fights and thinking, yep, this will work. And then I don't know. It's just disappeared for me. But he's fighting to win the British outright, so obviously he's doing something right. That that fight doesn't really do much for me. Charlie Edwards is back in action, fighting Ian Butcher for the British title. Would you make of Charlie Edwards? I know you were there the same night as me when he kind of made his comeback after the Casemiro defeat. Would you make of Edwards? Has he got a future in terms of on the world scene?
Yeah, I think he does, because he's a super flyweight, isn't he?
Yeah.
And there ain't many of them about, if we're being brutally honest. He fought Casemiro in his 9th fight, 10th fight, was it?
Ninth, yeah.
9th, which was too soon for him. But he took the opportunity, he'll learn from it. He's still a young man. This is for the British title. He'll probably win it convincingly against Ian Butcher, although Ian Butcher is quite a tough geezer. He's got a couple of losses on his record, but nowhere near the levels of opponent that beat Charlie Edwards. So yeah, it's I think he'll win. I think he'll win convincingly, Charlie Edwards.
Yeah, I can see Edwards. I quite like Edwards. I've listened to him a couple of times in interviews, and he seems to have his head screwed on. He just seems like a nice guy. I think he's from Sutton, which is quite close to me, in Streatham. He seems like a nice guy. The fight doesn't do much for me again. It doesn't. I mean, I'm not really intrigued by it. Oh, hold on a minute. We are joined by the king of Malaga, the master of Marbella, straight from Spain, Adam Noble Forsey. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm in my dad's pub getting Wi-Fi. Absolutely baking at the moment. It's about 30 degrees here. Other than that, I'm over the moon. I've just interviewed Joseph Parker. Going to be up on fighttalk.net very shortly. So yeah, I'm all good in the hood.
Good man. We're actually just talking about the Glasgow card this weekend, and we're talking about Andrew Selby and Edwards, Charlie Edwards. Now, we're saying obviously Edwards moved up to fight Butcher this weekend. Do you think the Selby Edwards fight is one that will just simmer a little bit longer until they both progress a little bit in their career?
Yeah, I think if I was their promoters, I would. I'd be sort of protecting them a little bit, because they've both between them, they've barely had 20 fights, have they?
Not even
that. So, I spoke to Charlie Edwards. I interviewed him at a press conference, and I don't think he ever intended on staying at flyweight. He's gone up to super flyweight, I'm correct?
Yeah, he's fighting for the British title this weekend, yeah.
Yeah, so, I think sort of, other than boxing fans, no one really knows who they are. So, I think it's the right move. Obviously, as a boxing fan, you want to see the best fights, but I've got no issue with it. They're both so young as well.
Yeah, they are young, definitely. Couple of Olympians on this show in Glasgow as well. Lawrence Okoli is fighting again, and you've got Josh Kelly making his debut. The Matchroom Olympians continue to be rolled out. Sam, what's your opinion on these Olympians just getting rolled out and almost filling up every show? I mean, Matchroom have started doing next gen shows, the NXT gen shows, for this purpose. How do you feel about them taking up these big events as well?
Yeah, do you know what? That was my query when the next gen got announced. Spider Richards, Jake Paul, Ted Cheeseman. It makes sense. Listen, they need the exposure. We saw Anthony Joshua get carted all around Britain. In his build-up, I remember him coming out with I think it was the Proclaimers, wasn't it? When he came out in Scotland.
Yeah.
So listen, they built him. Whether or not Okoli comes out, I can't really see him doing it. But listen, it makes sense, doesn't it? If you want to build a global or a brand, you start them and get noticed all around the country, all around Britain, get everyone noticed in him, and get interest from everywhere. So I can understand it. It's business, isn't it?
But is it too...
It's business.
My question is it too... When they done it with Joshua, they didn't really do it with anyone. They did it with Luke Campbell and Joshua, right? Now...
Well, they were going to do it with Conor Benn, but he's put a little bit of... he had a few of them, a few of his fights around the country. I think he was up in Manchester once and that,
but now we have...
He's gone a bit quiet.
Now we've got fucking everyone, mate. We've got Josh Kelly, Joe Cordina, Lawrence Okoli. We're going to have Buatsi. We're going to have Anthony Fowler. We've got Nicola Adams. We've got Katie Taylor. Like, it's like a massive procession line. Adam, is it good to unload them all at the same time, or do you need to build them individually a little bit?
Well, I think the sad truth is they're not all going to make it. Like, look at Anthony Ogogo. His career's pretty much done now. So I don't know. Is Eddie Hearn just signing them all up and hoping, if say 50% of them make it and go on to be world champions, it's good business, I suppose. They've got a sponsor with JD Sports as well. That's huge. Not a lot of professional fighters have that coming into the pro ranks. So I don't know. It's an interesting one. He does. It's funny because Eddie Hearn did an interview saying we're not just signing everyone like we used to, and then he's gone and signed all these fighters straight away. So yeah, it's kind of. Well, I suppose we'll have to see. Some of them like Josh Kelly, he looks kind of good, but I wasn't that impressed in the Olympics.
No.
I don't know about you guys. Lawrence Okoli really impressed me, but Josh Kelly, yeah, he's a goodish fighter.
Buatsi was the standout fighter for me, and
Same.
he hasn't actually made a decision yet, has he?
Same. He was my top pick for the Olympics from the GB squad.
Yeah, he did do well.
And
then what's going on with Joe Joyce at the moment?
Joe Joyce has to make a choice, man, because he's like 31.
Yeah, Mike. He's no spring chicken, is he? So
some would say.
I heard a rumor 2 months ago he was signing for a promoter, and it didn't happen. It didn't come off. We know another Olympian is signing tomorrow in Liverpool for a small hall promoter, Natasha Jonas.
Yeah.
So they're knocking about. The Olympians are getting everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a lot to do with the fact that the big boom in British boxing is where the money is. Is it beneficial really for these guys to stay on amateurs? Is the money there? Is the profile there? I don't know, but these guys and girls.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up profile actually, Stan, because you guys do a great job. Well, we do a great job at talking to young, up-and-coming fighters that don't get the sort of recognition and exposure they really deserve. But all these Olympians, like how many people tune into the Olympics? A lot of people, and there was a channel dedicated to boxing during the Olympics. So these guys are already 2 or 3 steps up the ladder without even having a professional fight. You know what I mean?
100%. 100%.
It's quite an easy job for Eddie Hearn. You can see why he wants to sign them all up. And
you're right. It spoils him because Eddie doesn't have to go scout in small hall shows. He doesn't have to go scouting all around the country. He just goes, all right, who are successful Olympians? Who's got a name? Who does everyone know? And who's going to bring in revenue and maybe a star? And that's all he has to do. You're right. He doesn't have to scout. He doesn't have to do anything. They've already kind of made their name a little bit before he's had to do anything.
I love the fact that Adam can make a million good points in a row, but every time he does, he sounds like he's stuck in a fucking vortex between here and another world.
That's, you ask any of my friends, that's sort of what I'm all about. You need me over it, but yeah, it's interesting. It's mad what's going on with British boxing at the moment. But I'm looking at who they're fighting. Josh Kelly's fighting Jay Byrne. That's a good debut fight.
That is a good fight.
That's not like we were talking about.
Dubois.
Yeah, the guy who fought Dubois. That was so shit.
We know how you feel. We know how you feel.
I was on the podcast with you for half an hour.
People are going to get I want Box Nation and Matchroom and any other promoter to do amazing. The reason why I get so annoyed is because it affects boxing, which then in turn affects our website and all the other things we do.
No, you're
someone like Frank Warren. I know David Powell pulled out last minute, but come on, how long's Frank Warren been a? Anyway, I'm digressing, but the point is, it should be better. And I don't think Matchroom are going to make the same mistake here. I think the lady who wrote an article on our website about Marcus Morrison. I think these guys fighting decent-ish people now rather than knockover jobs. It looks like Eddie Hearn's learned from some of the mistakes that's been made by how he's sort of putting his fighters against decent people.
Yeah, I think you have to do that. I think, like you said, everybody on this video and everybody that watches anything that we put up on the YouTube or reads anything we put on the page, we all want boxing to do well. But your point is spot on. You wouldn't put a fucking tremendous suit jacket with a shit pair of trousers in a window, would you? Boxing's in the shop window, and if you're going to put it on mainstream sport channels like BT Sports or Sky Sports, where maybe people who are not really that into it but could be swayed or could gain an interest in it as a casual observer, you have to make it appealing. And that Dubois fight was not appealing. It was a joke.
Well, I feel sorry for Dubois. I was listening to the podcast before I came on. Nathan Gorman made some really good points about, we haven't learned anything about Dubois, and Dubois hasn't really learned about anything as himself as a professional. So, yeah, we've sort of gone off onto that again. You can tell how annoyed I am about it. But, yeah.
Yeah. But it's
give a prediction. You go back to where we started. Burns or Indongo?
I reckon Burns is going to be all right. I have a lot of Scottish heritage, so Burns is a big deal in my household. Yeah, I think Indongo. I know he knocked out the Russian guy spectacularly. I think Ricky Burns is going to be all right in this. I think it's going to be a close, tough fight, and I think Ricky Burns he went through that bad period. He got beaten by Zlatan Khan, and then he went over to America and had a very close fight, and then he sort of had to build himself up. In the is it Cyril Rika, how you pronounce his name? A lot of people were saying he's a knockover job, but he's actually a very good fighter.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why people like Ricky Hatton have put time into him and stuff like that, because he's a good lad. And I'm hoping the experience is going to come through here for Ricky Burns. I think they're seeing a rebirth of Ricky Burns at the moment.
Yeah. I think so. I think we spoke about it before, me and Sam, before you jumped on, and we both said, we hope he manages to do it. And I think Indongo looks like he can bang with that left hand. But if Ricky Burns had a full camp to stay away for that left hand, you would hope that he should be okay on points, definitely. Let's move on, because I realise we've went on a fucking roller coaster of love. Gabe Rosado, Martin Murray, Liverpool, 22nd of April, another Matchroom card. How do we feel about that fight? Sam, what's your thoughts on that fight? Is it two guys who have already been beating each other up a little bit more, or is it someone's going to emerge from that as a world title contender?
Eddie will probably find a way of getting Martin Murray another world title crack if he wins. He has a way of getting guys world title fights that don't deserve it. Hi, Paul Smith. So I don't know. I think you're right. It is two guys that have been bashed up a lot, going in there to bash each other up. It's Martin Murray. I like him a lot. He's not top class. He's different to George Groves for me. George Groves has fallen short at his world title fights, but in my opinion, he's still world level and will get the world title. Martin Murray, in all his cracks, he could have won, but he didn't. But I don't believe he's better than any of the current world champions. He's just a really tough guy who loves a fight, who we all like. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really know what winning against Rosado really achieves, because he hasn't really done a great deal. He's not a pin. He's not a top level fighter. Well,
you forget Rosado. Rosado put in a tremendous performance in the film Creed. So don't rule him out. Maybe there's something in the water. Fucking Tony Bellew was in that and won. So who knows? Maybe Rosado he'll get the job. Maybe Martin Murray will rupture his knee or his Achilles or something, and it'll be good. So don't start that again. Don't start that again. We've done that.
I digress. You let Adam go on to another fucking subject for 10 minutes. So pissed him off.
Adam was in no danger of having an emotional breakdown. You are.
I am indeed, David.
Adam, what's your thoughts on Martin Murray, mate? Because for me, I know Sam said that he had his chances and he lost. For me, I thought he could have got a decision in 2 of those world title fights. What do you think of Murray as a world title contender?
Yeah, well, I feel a bit sorry for Martin Murray because, if everything was fair, Martin would be possibly a 2-time world champion.
Yep.
So it's it's a little bit sad to see this sort of it's a good fight. I actually like the fight. I think it'll be good, but I would have liked to. I don't really know what's going on now. He's back down at middleweight. He was up at super middleweight. I don't know. I think they're just trying to keep him in a kind of reasonably relative fight until we can sort of eke out another WBA regular world title shot for him or something like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it looks like they're doing.
Does that make... we spoke, Sam touched on it there, Eddie Hearn manages to get people world title fights when they don't deserve it. Does that make Eddie Hearn a bit of a magician of a promoter? I mean, if you're a fighter and you want to win a world title, is that a good thing? Do we think that's a good thing for British boxing, that a guy can pull those strings? Or does it take away from the authenticity of the sport?
That's a good question.
Yeah, but
You're going, Sam?
no, it's hard, isn't it? Because if you're a fighter and you're with Eddie, you know that he might pull something out of the fucking bag. Look at Charlie Edwards getting that world title fight in his 9th fight on the Brook undercard against Castanero. Do you know what I mean? It's nice to know that he could pull something out that you don't expect. But on the other hand, have we had guys fight for world titles that don't deserve it? And then it put a stain on British boxing? I don't know. It's a good question.
Well, it's a funny thing with the governing bodies. If you're with Eddie Hearn, he's got a very good relationship with the WBC, WBA, and the IBF. If you're with Frank Warren, most likely you're going to get WBO type shot. So, he's got more options available to him, and that's probably through networking. I've met Eddie Hearn. He's very likable guy. He engages with people. He makes you kind of feel important, even as the interviewer, which does affect your interview technique. Whereas Frank Warren and the Box Nation team, they have a sort of different kind of vibe to it. So, if I was a fighter, I'll be completely honest. Again, I want both Box Nation and Matchroom to do just as well as each other. But if I was a young fighter, I'd jump straight over to Eddie Hearn. The reason why fighters get into the sport is because they want to win world titles. Your chances are triple if you're signing with Eddie Hearn, whereas if you're with Box Nation, you've only really got the WBO as an option.
Yeah. The other option is you could go ITV box office and fight for the IBO.
Yeah, that is another good option.
So... Okay, we have went on a magical mystery tour of the Burns Indongo card, the Murray Rosado card, and we've touched a little bit on Olympians, how they're being promoted, how Frank, how Eddie are doing. So we've pretty much touched on a lot of subjects that we didn't really think we would. Gents, quick prediction on the Murray Rosado fight before we go. Adam?
Murray on points.
Ooh, Sam?
Murray on points, but it will be a tough fight. I think there'll be blood. I just want to quickly say there's another fight on the card. I know we ain't got time. John Ryder, Rocky Fielding, British title fight. I'm pulling for my boy John Ryder, top man, top boy, lovely geezer, and I hope he beats Rocky Fielding for the British title.
That's one of the best fights on both of those cards combined, actually.
It is a great fight. Rocky Fielding obviously got blown away by another great Smith brother, another one that I really like. But yeah, I think Ryder's a tougher. It's a tougher fight for Ryder than obviously the Callum Smith. Styles make fights, so Fielding is not going to just roll over the way he did in the Callum Smith fight. But I'm confident Ryder can get the win. Shout
out to Ryder, who looked very, very, very good against Adam Etches on that February 4th card as well.
Exactly.
Okay. That's been us. We've talked about everything pretty much. We've been joined by a member of the Spanish cartel. We've got Sam here. Sam's on the other side of the phone, rocking a mohawk at this time of night, and I'm here wearing a Ricky Burns t-shirt. So we're all good. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be on fighttalk.net. Loads of content to come. You heard it here. Adam Noble-Fossey, exclusive Joseph Parker, and Kevin Barry interview will be coming soon as well. Keep your eyes peeled for that and a lot of other stuff. Fighttalk.net. content, boxing for the ground up. Thank you very much.